Okay, good day everyone. So today we'll be looking at this section of our SBA, that's a word processing section. And task one in the word processing requires us to create a trifold brochure, right? Trifold brochure. Tri meaning three or three parts. So in essence, our brochure is going to have three parts. And we should all know what a brochure is. A brochure is a paper, printed paper that is folded and usually giving some information, something you go to Digicel or the bank or healthcare facilities instead of giving out brochure information. So we're just going to create one of those, right? A good example of that would be, here we go, this is an example. This is an example of a brochure, right? As you can see, it has three parts, right? So this is the cover, then there are three inside parts, and these are the two back sections, right? And you can see they have different types. There's one style here, different color, different features, different stylings. Alright, so bear this in mind. So we're talking about a brochure, trifold brochure. This is what we're talking about. It have 3 pages on one side and 3 pages on the other side. Alright, let's look at the details first. So, one, create a trifold brochure to promote the services your healthcare facility offers to its patients. The brochure should give detail about the facility as well as COVID-19 information and preventative measures. The following format may be used as a guide. Alright, so here we're showing that we have cover, we have page 2 and page 3, page 4 and page 5, and page 6. Before I get into that, let me show you what I mean by these pages. So when you create your brochure, this is how you're going to have it. Right, you're going to have two sides, right? Just at the top and the bottom here. But this is the important thing to know, where the pages are, right? So you have page 1 here, then on the next side of the sheet you have page 2, page 3, page 4, and you come back around to the front side where you have page 5 and page 6, right? This is because remember that this brochure will be folded. So when it's folded, this is the side that shows as a cover, and then when you open it out you have these sides on the inside, and then on the back you have page 5 and page 6. So when you're creating your brochure, remember where the pages are. So you're starting with page 1, page 2, 3, 4, then 5 and 6. All right, remember that sequence. Don't start page 1 over here, so you're going to find yourself in problems, right? So if it's supposed to be printed and folded, it's not going to fold properly because page 1, if you do page 1 here, so page 1 will come up on the back of the brochure, which you don't want. All right, so from this point forward, as I go forward, when I speak about page 1, I'm referring to in this sequence of pages here. All right, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. Let's go back. So here I have the cover, which is this page right here. So, right, on the cover, you need to have a logo and the name of your hospital. Remember, a logo, you can go on the internet and find any logo. Just don't use anything that has somebody's name on it. Alright? So if you're doing a healthcare facility, you can just go to Google and type in healthcare logos. Go to the images section and you're going to see hundreds and thousands of logos. Pick something that is appropriate, alright? And the good thing with this logo that you find you're using here is that you can put it in all throughout the rest of your SBA. So the logo that you're going to be using for your brochure here, you can put it on the letter when you get to that point. You can go back to the spreadsheet and you can put it on the top of your spreadsheet to make it look more interesting. You can put it in your web page that you did already to make it look more interesting. Alright, you can put it anywhere that you see, just to kind of tie in everything together, tying all the SBAs together as one piece. Alright, so an appropriate logo and the name of your hospital. Right? Let me just show you a template that I did just to give you an idea. Alright, so this will be your first page. As you can see, I separated this into two, just like what we said. So this would be my page 1. Then over here would be 2, 3, 4, then 5 and 6. Alright, so this is my page 1 right here. So I have the name of the hotel up at the top. You can use, this is where you can put it in a bigger writing with fancy writing and color. Alright, because you need this part to be interesting. This is my logo that I chose right here. So down here, so now I can put my hospital contact information, my address, where the address is, my telephone number is, my email address, and down here, so is a disclaimer. This is saying candidate name and candidate number. So this is your name and your number that you're going to put here because this is your SBA, right? So it's going to show that this was done by you, right? For the next section, let me go back to the SBA, right? For page 2 and page 3. Details about the facility and the services and features being offered. That's what you're going to put on page 2 and page 3. So page 2 right here, we're going to have about your hospital. That's a heading that I put there. You don't have to use the exact heading that I am having here. Just make sure that it falls within the criteria of what is being asked for on page 2 and page 3. Alright. For page 3 here, so I have services offered. And I kind of put some line here so to show you that you're going to need some. So that would simulate where you would have your writing. You give me the details about whatever you're writing about. I put a blue part here to show that you can have pictures, or you should have pictures in it. Bear in mind where I have the blue boxes, you don't have to put your pictures in the exact same place, right? So I try to put them different places to show you that you can go anywhere on the page. What I don't want you to do, I don't want you to fill up the page with pictures and then you have very little writing. And I don't want you to fill up the page with writing and you have very little pictures. It has to be balanced. Right? So you have to give the proper detail about what you're talking about and a few pictures that is relating to what you're talking about. Right? So if you're talking about a hospital, don't give me a picture of a football field. You understand? It has to be related to what you're talking about. So if you're talking about the hospital, you can probably put a picture here of a hospital that relates to what you're talking about. If you're talking about services here, so put a picture of some of the services that the hospital related to. Proper good health care, some are being taken care of, whatever the case is. Alright. Page 4 to 5, COVID information and preventative tips. Right, so this is page 4 here, so one of the heading that I have here says, what is COVID-19? You can have another heading halfway down on the page if you want. If you want to break up what is COVID-19 into different parts or something like that, you can have other headings, as long as it looks neat and as long as it's flowing. Alright? So I go back up now to page 5, COVID preventative tips. And again, you can have multiple tips, you can have a few, you can have it broken up into different sections if you want. You are going to be creative with this. You can get the information from the internet, but bear in mind, do not use the internet, the information the same exact way like where you copy it. Alright? Try to modify it and make it your own. So if somebody is talking about a different hospital, you can use your information but modify it. Put some other things in your own words, in your own terms, as it relates to your hospital and how you want it to be displayed. Alright? And page 6. On this page, provide any additional information that you think is necessary to complete your brochure. So on page 6 here, so that is where you are going to receive an X mark because you have to be creative with this one. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I want here, but you have to be creative. So you're going to use your imagination and put in what else do you think you're trying to market your healthcare facility to someone. What do you think they might want to see here? What kind of information might they want to see? I don't even want to try to give you an example because I know you guys love to cling on to my examples and use them as your own. So be creative here, right? Something useful, something that makes sense, something that's related to the other information that is in the brochure. Alright? So when you finish, you should have 2 pages like this. So one over right here with page 1, then the second page 2, 3, 4, and the next page, back to the first page 5 and 6. Alright, and it's just going to come below it like a regular Microsoft Word page. I'll show you in a minute now how to format your page to get it looking like this. Alright, so on the example here, on the SBA sheet here, I gave some information how I want it to be formatted. right? So the brochure should have the following format. The paper size should be legal, that's 14 by 8.5. The page should be landscape orientation, and your borders and margin should be 0.7 inches. Alright, and the number 4 here, very important, any other formatting feature that is appropriate, including bold, underline, bullets, tables, and borders. Right? So all of these features, when you're typing in, putting in information, if you make your headings bold and underline, if the items that you're listing have bullets on them, if you use a table to put some of the information in it, and if you use borders, all of these items you could potentially get marks for, and this will enhance the look of your brochure. And then finally, you save your brochure as healthcare brochure. Alright, so I'm just going to create one quickly just so you see exactly what we're talking about, and then you can tackle that. Alright, so we're going to start off, and what I'm showing you here, it will be very similar, if not the same, as if you're using your cell phone or your tablet. So I'm using a laptop right here with Windows on it. Right, the steps will be the same if you're using Word on a tablet on an Android device. Right, it will be the same. So this is what your page looks like. This is your standard 8.5 by 11 page. Right, so I'm just going to use the features, the formatting features that I mentioned here. Just going to use all of them. Change the size to legal, the orientation to landscape, and the margins to 0.75. Good. So this is the standard page. So first thing I want to do, change the size here, size to legal. So you see it's highlighted as letter already. You change it to legal, 8.5 by 14. And right away, you see the page get longer. Right? So it was like that before. When I change it to legal, it gets longer. Right? We're going to change the orientation. So right now it's on portrait, which is standing up straight. When I put it on landscape, it will turn sideways like that. Good. And then the final step for this is to put in the columns, because you want, just like these brochures here, you want 1, 2, 3 columns for each one. Alright. So if you look at the margin up here, so you can see it's one solid ruler, all white line. So when I put in the margin, you're going to see that change. When I put in the columns, so I go to columns, and I go to 3. And right here, you see there's like a gray area here that shows that the column line is right here. There's like a gray area. Hope that you're seeing that. So you see a white area. The white area is going to show that you can type in this area. The gray area here is showing the border or the margin line. That's white area, so this is one column, this is one column, and this is one column. Alright? So when you start typing in here, so now, in order, because remember now you want to start at page 1, and page 1 is over here, so, but your cursor is over here, so, right? So you have to press enter, cursor going to go down and come up on the next side of the column, continue pressing enter, cursor going to go down and come up on the next side of the column. So this now is your page 1, right? And this will be page 5 and 6, right? To go to the next page below it, you just continue pressing enter. So if you want, you can just, when you're starting off, just press enter all the way through just to get the pages going already. So you see the cursor moving through, going to all of the pages. And now you have your 2 pages right there. Alright? So for most of you, it might be difficult to see. Alright. So once you have done that, next step you do, you go to your margins, custom margins. And you're going to put your top, bottom, left, and right margins to 0.7. Alright, that's just giving you a little bit more room on the page to do what you want to do while making it still look neat. So once you have done those items right there, then you're good to go. You can just start typing. As I said, just press enter to set up the page to bring down all of your pages. So once you do it like this, then you will see a page is laid out before you. Alright. If you're wondering how I got this line to come up here, when I went to columns and more columns, when I selected the 3, I selected line between. And look at the image here, so it's a line between. It does put a line right down the middle of the columns like this. So this kind of make it easier for you to navigate. Alright, when you zoom out, you might not see it, but when you zoom in, you will see the lines. Alright, so once you have this going, you just start putting in the information. Right, so remember, you're starting with the hospital name, the logo, contact information, and the next page, about hospital, services, what is COVID. Alright, you get that information. So the key thing is when you're putting in like some of the information that you're putting in, you can put your headings to about between size 14 and size 18. Don't make them too big. All of these headings, don't make them too big. Then the information that you're going to type in here, you can make it either size 11 or 12. Don't make the words too big or it's going to look too bold or too large on the page, and you don't want to make it too small so that it look too fine and you can't read it. Alright, you can use colors, dark colors that is easily read against a white background. If you change the color of your background, then the words must complement the color. So if you put a blue background, you need to make sure that your words are showing in front of it. You don't want it to look like the words disappear into the background. If you put an image for your background, ensure that the colors, the word colors, are showing above the image for the background. Alright? And once you have this done, this shouldn't take very long. And you have this done. This will be your brochure for your SBA. Alright guys, have fun and submit when you're finished.